Hello, hello, welcome. And I think your microphone's still muted.
Whoops. Welcome everyone to the Girls Play Chicago and Blackbird Code intro to computer programming roundtable discussion. This is exciting.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. I'm so honored to be here chatting with the Girls Place and particularly with our special guests today. I'm so excited to share what we're up to at Blackbird and how the Girls Place and Blackbird Code are working together to help some young folks learn to code.
Yes. And so after our conversation with our two guests, we invite you to stick around because we are going to give our young people a little sneak peek into the Blackbird Code app and what they can, look forward to experiencing when they get into the March workshop. Mike, I love what Blackbird Code is doing, and I want to just thank you and Sarah Farrell, who's one of the great team members at Blackbird Code. And I think what we're doing together, this collaboration, we're super excited about it at the Girls Play Chicago.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you guys. So we're super excited to share this skill with as many people as we can, and we can't do that without organizations like the Girls Place. So we're really looking forward to this conversation today, hopefully to excite some young folks to give computer programming a try, and then doubly excited to offer a multi-day workshop where if this conversation was exciting and you're interested and want to try to learn to program a computer, you can come and participate next week.
Yep, sounds great. So I think without further ado, I think we want to get our guests in here. And our first guest is Linda Grayburn. She has been in computer programming for over 25 years, and she is now a data analyst. And I'm looking forward to hearing her full history of how she got into the industry. And our other guest is Audrey Willis. She is the co-founder of Code Crew in Memphis. And so let's go ahead and bring our guest in.
Hey, Linda. Hey, Audrey.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, so the plan today is to have a roundtable discussion. Enla and I have a few questions for Linda and Audrey, who have a tremendous amount of experience working with computers, programming computers, and we're really excited to hear their answers to these questions. So I'll kick it off with the first one. Could you both tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, what your current job looks like, and maybe things you like to do for fun? Linda, you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah, I live in Portland, Oregon. I'm originally from a small town called Bellingham, Washington. I went to school at the University of Arizona. I'm married with 2 teenage sons, and I have a yellow Labrador retriever named Luna. My current role is as a product data analyst. Although I've worn many hats throughout my 25 years in technology, from software trainer to quality analyst. I did front-end design and UI UX manager. So I've covered a wide but complementary surface area in the realm of technology. And in my free time, or my family's free time, we like to go out. We like to go to the beach and go on hikes and just try to get out and enjoy nature, especially now, given the times that we're in right now.
Wonderful, thank you. And Audrey, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Audrey Willis. I am from Memphis, Tennessee, where we care a lot about barbecue and blues around here, but because of COVID, we can't enjoy it as much. But I've been working in the IT space for almost 20 years now. I started out, I'm a non-traditional IT with a non-traditional background. So I got my start actually developing MySpace, which is in an old programming language called Cold Fusion. And using that knowledge that I gained from that experience, I actually scored my first job, and I worked for TSA for a while. So I've always been kind of angled towards tech ed. Even though I would try and, gear myself somewhere else, I would always go back to the education side. And that's kind of how Code Crew was discovered was my passion of trying to fuse technology and education and expose underrepresented individuals to computer science and provide them or offer them opportunities that I wish I had had earlier in life.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you know what? We wanted to see a little bit more about Code Crew. I know you guys are doing some amazing things in Memphis. So we have, I think, a quick video that we can show. So if we can go ahead and roll that.
Code Crew is a nonprofit organization that teaches kids and adults to write software. We do that in a number of different ways, from directly working with kids in the K-12 system, as well as directly training adults, but also we train teachers and we also advocate for legislation for computer science education.
Code School is a 6-month boot camp, and it is a full-time program. And participants in the program learn full-stack web development, so that is front end and back end. Participants in the program also get a JavaScript certification through Microsoft, and they come out of the program with a portfolio of about 3 to 4 projects that they have built throughout their 6 months.
We have actually expanded to go directly into schools as an elective class, like you would take an art class or a music class. So we're in elementary schools through high schools. And in our high school programming, we can do CS Foundations all the way up to AP Computer Science. For in school, some schools we're there 5 days a week, and for after school, we're maybe there 1 to 2 days a week for about an hour and a half.
We also have exposure events like the hackathon and Hour of Code, just to get those in the K-12 space, underrepresented individuals in the tech field, to get them exposure to the computational thinking and computer science skills.
Not only are we directly teaching kids, but we're also training teachers to teach kids in their respective schools. As well as we've been successful at getting legislation passed around computer science education to ensure that every child, all 1 million kids in Tennessee, also have access to quality computer science education.
Individuals are thirsty for an opportunity to improve their lives, to improve their skill set.
The kids that we target here in Memphis, to get such an early start and to stay with us and to grow with us, that makes life-changing opportunities. You can take kids out of poverty and move them into the middle class, and that's how this city is going to prosper.
And we do that recognizing that we can't do it without the diversity in tech that has been so sorely lacking historically. And we think that that's our gift to America here in Memphis, is bringing and showing the country how to bring diversity to tech.
That is great.
Thank you.
So you all are doing great work in Memphis. And so, I have this question for both of you all. In your opinion, why is learning about computers and programming important in the world today, and in particular for girls? And Audrey, I'll start with you.
So yeah, that's like one of my favorite promo videos that we have, and I was tearing up because I was like, wow, I really miss the kids. And so that was, at a time where we were with those kids every day. But it's important for several reasons. I think one thing that is shown or demonstrated through the video is that those adults that are in the video are actually either individuals that work in the tech space, or code school graduates, or individuals that are actually in college studying computer science. Why this dynamic is important for our organization is that we have what we refer to as tech mentoring. So it means nothing to me if I don't see anybody in the spaces in which I aspire to work in. It means everything in the world to me if I do see them. And it becomes even more important that I'm able to interact with them. So it becomes very important on both ends of the house, because, on one spectrum, we have adults that are in the computer science space working as professionals that are able to mentor and engage with those students that are in college that are in turn able to engage with the kids. So, we have what we refer to as a tech pipeline. And so each step of those situations are very important and vital to not only minorities in the space, but women in the space, because we want to always make sure there are women that are professionals or students that are engaged with the students to empower those female students that we have that are coming through our program, whether it's through a hackathon or just a 1 hour code, because that initial exposure point is literally life or death for us. Either they can come into the room, they can connect with another woman or person of color and feel completely engaged in the situation, or they can see no one and be completely put off, and we've lost the race.
Absolutely. So true. So true. Linda, same question for you.
Yeah, no, this is a great question. Understanding technology is essential because we're never going to go back into a time where the things that we've automated now are done in a slower, more manual process. So just at a basic level, understanding technology makes you a smarter consumer, and it makes you safer against data security issues and whatnot. But beyond that, it is growing deeper technical skills opens up greater opportunities, both personally and professionally. It allows you to explore so many different sub areas within technology. My work history is reflective of that. So I think that it is important just at a basic level to understand the technology that's ever expanding. And beyond that, it opens the door to more opportunities to use your natural skills in a way that pays you well, gives you job security, and it just creates a very fun, interesting career path for you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, I think a world without computers is kind of really difficult to imagine, which is tough to say considering when I was a little kid, it was this novelty thing, a computer, right? And now you can't do anything without it. So speaking of computers, my first experience with computers, I was a little kid. My dad had one in the closet or something. What were some of the things that got the both of you first interested in working with computers to the point where you decided to make it your profession? Linda, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, I started off as a consumer. So I was born at a time where technology was, just starting to become available to consumers. So I actually started off playing video games. I started with a game called Pong, which you've never heard of. You should look it up. It's a digital form of table tennis. It was all the rave at the time. I graduated to the handheld games. I had a baseball one, a football one. But essentially, I always wanted to know how things worked. So my transition into technology was kind of organic. And that I was always just very curious. The organization that I worked for when I began my career in technology, they were transitioning from DOS to Windows, and they were looking for a software trainer that could help, educate the rest of our organization. And so that's how I began in technology. As a software trainer that developed an interstate software training development program for our organization.
Very cool. Yeah. Audrey, what first got you excited about computers?
Very similar games, and I am still a gamer to this day.
Nice.
I started out playing video games with relatives. Fortunately, I had a relative that had a computer processor and a old Mac, and so I had the opportunity to be able to play and manipulate those devices. And fortunately, I had a stepmother that worked for a corporate company. So while she was working, I got to play and write things in the command line. And I was, on Photoshop before Photoshop was what it is today. Printing and making graphics on old paper that, you have to pull the sides off of. I can't remember what it's called, but it was a very casual migration into what my career was. And honestly, I can't remember a phase in my life where I wasn't attached to technology, which, like I say, it goes back to those exposure points. Is just a fortunate sequence of events that I've always had some sort of technology in my life, because I can remember, with the really long Ethernet cord attaching to, Prodigy to look at JCPenney catalogs online.
Wow.
On a yellow and black screen. So, that was fascinating to me. So I've always just been engaged in some sort of technology at some point or facet in my life.
Very cool.
Man, you guys are taking me back. And Linda, Pong, woo, used to love it.
Hey, a plug for our workshop. We'll be building games, not
That's
a whole
right.
lot different than Pong.
That's right.
Come get a video game history lesson at the workshop next week.
That's right. Well, March is Women's History Month. And I was curious, like, what women in STEAM have inspired the two of you ladies to, as you have moved forward in your careers and even as young people? And Audrey, I'll start with you.
So I've had, a lot of women that have been in my life that have been engineers that I really did not or wasn't able to connect with what they did being very young. But I will say, transitioning into my career, I had a really amazing boss. Her name's Pam Rendine Cook. And I worked with her at AutoZone many moons ago. And Pam was just always this very forceful voice in standing up and making sure, if there was a door to be open, she held it open and made sure other women had opportunities to come in and giving me like hard, firm advice. And she never coddled me. She never, gave me in small doses information, trying to, make me handle it. She was just always very, very, very hard charged and motivated. And I always admired that about her. And to this day, we still talk every once in a while. And, it is just really comforting for me, especially transitioning from being in such heavy development environments into leadership. And I've been in leadership for quite a bit of time, to be able to connect to somebody that's in leadership that can give you great advice. And great advice is so valuable these days, and especially when it comes from a woman. So I would say Pam's been, just this amazing influence on my life.
Oh, wow. Agreed. Linda, same question.
So I actually was going to answer this with a couple women who do inspire me. I will still say their names, but hearing Audrey's answer has actually made me think of somebody else that I had not thought of. So I'm going to plug Kimberly Bryant and Reshma Sajani as both women who are, pushing forward to help bring technology to underrepresented communities. And I think anybody who, walks the walk is somebody that I admire and that it inspires me. But I also do want to give a shout out to my former employer and supervisor, who's Heather Blackbird. She made me feel like anything's possible, even when I didn't feel that way. And she did it in such an organic way, such a natural way, that it didn't feel like this person just snowing me, those tapes that play in my head. She was able to sort of get around those. And I think that's especially important for girls and women in this profession, or girls who want to go into this profession. You are in a space, as Audrey said before, that is very heavily male dominated, where you might not see faces that look like yours, whether women or women of color. And so it's really important, if you have someone like that can encourage you and tell you, yes, you can, when everything in your head says, I shouldn't, or I'm afraid. That's huge. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. That encouragement and that mentorship, boy, it really can take you so far. Yeah.
In your working careers, I'm sure there's been lots of projects that you guys have worked on. What is maybe one or two that you're particularly proud of? And I'm kind of curious if there's programming or programs that you've written that you're particularly proud of as well. Doesn't have to be, but I'm curious. Linda, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, this was a fun question to contemplate. I had a job working for Oregon State University at the College of Forestry, and we were supporting all of the faculty, staff, and users within the College of Forestry. And my future husband and I were both working there, and we decided I saw a need for some kind of tracking system, and ideally something that's online so that they don't have to call or come to us. They can just do it from the comfort of their own office. So he and I worked on an online help center, help desk, where we could track our users' requests, and users can just reach out to us directly through there. And that was written in SQL and PHP, and it was a great fun project. And like I said, I met my husband, and so I guess it was a twofer.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Great.
Audrey, how about you?
So Code Crew is going to always be the nearest and dearest thing to my heart as a project that I've worked on, because, when we started that organization, me and the other two co-founders, we were all working full-time jobs. When we started that, I was the first Code Crew teacher. Maka was, running the organization. He is still running the organization and doing an amazing job doing so. And Petya Grady, the third founder, was whipping us into shape and, keeping us on task with learning these financials, because we literally started a nonprofit, started teaching classes, and we're going through a startup accelerator all at the same time while keeping full-time jobs. So that's going to always be the nearest and dearest project to my heart. But I was appointed as the first manager of innovation for Shelby County government. And innovation in government sometimes seems like an oxymoron, because sometimes our governments don't move as quickly as we would like. But when COVID started, I was able to really get things moving in terms of innovation and like reporting out data and how do we look at things in a quick manner, because we were forced to innovate. And honestly, sometimes that's how some of the best innovations happen, out of being forced, out of habits. So I would say that's probably the second most impactful project that I've ever worked on.
So cool. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. So I think, Linda, you mentioned earlier how, and everyone mentioned that technology is here to stay, that, there's no way getting around it. But how have you seen the advancement in technology enhance access to computer science education for the underrepresented children in communities? And Linda, I'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's brought the world to us. Before, you think about prior to computers being, ubiquitous, kind of, most people have access to them. It was a little bit more uneven in terms of the learning and opportunities to learning. So we do still have a long way to go. We're not there yet. There are still a lot of households that do not have access to technology in an easy way. But in general, it has brought education is more easily accessible through these online tools and learning opportunities. So it's exciting to see. There's still work to go, room for growth and work to be done, but it's exciting to see the progress that we've made and the recognition that this is not just a necessary tool, but a useful tool that actually benefits the whole country. As if you can reach children and get them excited about the world of STEM, girls in STEM, you open up enormous opportunities for them, which has a ripple effect across society. So it's exciting, but looking forward to seeing more positive growth.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Audrey.
And so I think Mike made a point of saying, like, once upon a time, technology was a novelty, and
Yes.
it was just this novelty. It was either you had access to it or you didn't. And if you didn't necessarily know the wiser. But now it's just so tangible. I mean, it's everywhere. And unfortunately, to Linda's point, not everybody has access to good Wi-Fi or a device, but there is something that can be taught to them. I mean, my 5-year-old has, magnets that he builds. So he's learning engineering through that art. And it's just being able to find something that you like about technology and being a creator with that. I mean, I tell people all the time, technology is not all about writing lines of code. Technology has evolved in such a way to, if you're a writer, well, how do you use technology to embrace your writing? If you're an artist, how do you use systems and programs to now enhance your art? So the spectrum is not only wide, it's deep. And so, you can be in healthcare and psychology, but still have a technology angle to it because, you don't just put together a web page. Now there's a psychology to putting together a web page. So I think watching it transition to us playing Pong to now being able to have a psychology of web development,
Right.
An actual course in college has it's just amazing. And so I think those angles start to make it more embracing of women in tech because, not being so afraid of the hard lines of code, but seeing these things that, are relatable and saying, hey, I can put a tech spin on that. And now I'm engaged.
Boy, yeah, that's so true. So true. And it really is the blending of the, engineering, technology, sciences, and arts together. And they're not exclusive, but they are, connected in such a wonderful way now. Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at our time. Boy, we've gone through our 30 minutes so quickly, but I want to just get, as we, kind of wrap up, for both of you to share some thoughts to encourage, or something that you'd like to share to young girls to encourage them to explore computer science education and the career paths. And Linda, we'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the cliche, you miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. It's still useful advice that you may not know what you want to do right now, and that's okay. I mean, some women knew at an early age that they wanted to go into this career field, and some women just sort of happened organically. But there's some underlying, traits and attributes. Like, are you a curious person? Do you ask questions? Are you inquisitive about the world around you? If so, then a career in STEM, and specifically in technology, could be for you. And to Audrey's point, there's so many. The range is so wide and deep. It isn't just, am I going to write code? But it's also, what other ways do I engage in technology? And then the other point I want to make is that when we're not represented as women, then the people who are making the decisions on, what features go into the product, how the product is being used, are represented by one gender. We are using this technology. We should have a voice in how this technology is developed, and it will make it better for all of the users. So it's exciting. It's exciting to be part of that process and to know that you've been an integral part in making change in technology that perhaps lots and lots of people are going to use.
Absolutely. Audrey.
I would definitely say it's very similar. Fail fast, fail often, learn lots. I mean, nobody's perfect the first time they get into this. I mean, I can't tell you the lines and lines of code that I've written and somebody come from behind me and look over my shoulder and push, a period or a parentheses, and all of a sudden it works. Or, the lines of code that I've erased and had to spend time rebuilding. Well, guess what? I rebuilt it faster. I rebuilt it smarter. Code Crew was not the first startup that I was ever engaged in. I had a startup before that. But the thing is, only 2% of minority women ever find funding in startups, and have done it twice. I'm not a billionaire, but, it puts me in a small category of women that have succeeded in finding funding for startups. And those little wins, behind failing, make me feel good because, it didn't work out. But man, did I learn so many lessons about startups that made Code Crew successful, or it made it impactful. And it feels so good when, I get texts from students that are now applying for college and saying, I got to, accepted into Vanderbilt under computer science. It feels amazing. And so, you've got to find those failures. You're not going to find who you are, who you want to be, unless you make some mistakes. And I've enjoyed all the mistakes that I've made because it's led me to meet so many amazing people. And I get to meet people from all over the world. And now that we're all stuck at home, I get to virtually meet so many people. but that's through a technology component. And so, you know, enjoy the ride and the opportunities and the experiences, and ask questions. Ask lots of questions, because, I mean, that's the only way you're going to learn information. And trust me, there are people around you that are willing and eager to help you. So that's my 2 cents on technology.
And I love that, not having fear of failure, because if you're moving towards, you're going to have those stumbling blocks, but you're continuing to move forward, and it's okay, you know, that, you know, if you make a mistake, you keep moving. And I love that. I love that.
Best way to learn, through the mistakes that we make on our own.
Yep. Because there's somebody who didn't take the chance, and you did.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think we just want to thank you, ladies.
Thank
Boy,
you.
it went by so fast.
It did.
I love everything that you're doing, and keep up the wonderful work, the encouragement. Just having you here today, you all are an encouragement. Just as you said, you are representing. We see ourselves in you, right? So our young people will see themselves in you. And so I think this is what makes these moments, virtual moments, so important. So thank you again.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Enla, do we have some ways that the audience can get in touch with Audrey and Linda, if they'd like?
Well, you know, we'd love for them to drop a question in the comment section. They can also email the Girls Place, and we will make sure that we send out any information, anything we can make sure that we connect them with both Audrey and with Linda.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. So I wanted to just make sure, Mike, that we kind of give, as we promised at the beginning, give the girls who are signing up to the March workshop an opportunity to kind of get a sneak peek into Blackbird Code, its app. So, you know, just talk a little bit about it, and then go ahead and share and let us see inside the app.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So hopefully that conversation and Linda and Audrey's experiences have sparked something in you, and you're curious about learning how to program. So we talked in that roundtable discussion about all the ways that you can participate in technology, and programming is really at the heart of all of those ways of participating. And so Blackbird Code is a platform that teaches the fundamentals of computer programming. So let me share my window, and Enla, is it coming through now?
It sure is. I see it.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And so what we're really interested in helping folks learn is how to write lines of code. You heard Audrey and Linda sort of mention this in their conversations, but typing out lines of code is really how programs are built. So you might be familiar with some applications maybe that you've used where you've dragged and dropped some blocks to build a program. In Blackbird Code and in the workshop next week, what we're going to do is learn to type lines of code. So we're in a lesson inside Blackbird Code, and this small panel here has a little overview of what we're going to learn in this multi-part lesson. It gives us some code snippets of what we need to type, and then it gives us some diagrams and things that we can dive into to learn more about the code that we're typing. But every lesson in Blackbird looks a little bit similar, and we've built this system to be as friendly as we can make typing code. So I'm going to follow this first step here, and I just want to show a little bit about the sort of feedback that you get when you start learning to code. So I'm using my keyboard to type out this code here, and I see that this snippet here, I've tried to recreate it here, and now I'm going to move on to the next step, to line 6. As soon as I move away, I get a little notification that says rectangle is not valid. Did I mean to type rectangle? And I look at the difference between the two, and I notice, oops, I didn't use a capital R. And now that error goes away. So those mistakes that Audrey was talking about, sometimes those mistakes are really big, but oftentimes they're just teeny tiny little things. And so we've built into Blackbird lots of those little error messages to help learners move through lessons. So in the workshop, we'll do a little bit of learning this way.
Okay.
These lessons have multiple steps, and I can just sort of preview what they do. And then at the end of every lesson, we will have created a small computer program. So the lessons live in this lesson drawer, and there's lots and lots and lots of lessons in Blackbird Code.
Okay.
But the workshop is the other part of the platform where you actually build full programs. So at the end of a lesson, you have a little program, and then in the workshop is where you can really let your creativity go nuts. So let's show off a couple of the types of programs that we'll be learning to build in the workshop next week.
Okay.
So Paddleball is a game, not a whole lot different than Pong. Linda was talking about playing Pong. So this is a whole computer program. You can see we have some code comments.
Right.
We have some colorful code that we've actually written here, and it's about 90 lines. So it looks like this big complex thing, but I promise we'll get lots of practice writing these lines, and we'll talk a lot about the patterns that we see in this code. And that experience plus the errors that we see will make it possible for us to create fun games like this.
Awesome.
Yeah. So all of the programs that we write in Blackbird all create a computer program that is displayed on this place we call the canvas. So we'll learn about how that's all put together, and how we can control things with our mouse, and how we can tell our program to see if our shape is bouncing off the side of this canvas space, tell it how fast to go and what direction. So we'll learn all sorts of stuff like that, and we'll also create programs like a painting program. And this is a painting program that I created with just lines of code that I did. And so I don't know if anybody's familiar with Microsoft Paint.
Yes.
But here's my version of Microsoft Paint.
I love it. This is so exciting. And so my question, will the girls have the opportunity to go into the app and work independent of the classes from week to week?
Absolutely. So what we'll do in our workshop is spend about an hour getting to know one another and getting to know the Blackbird Code application. And then my hope is that once we become familiar with how this website is put together and how lessons work, that girls will be able to pick their own pace to go through these lessons. Lessons, when they're completed, earn stars. And with these stars, you can unlock avatars.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
Yeah, you can make friends on the platform as well, so you can share your cool programs with other participants in the class or other people you know that are using Blackbird Code.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Can they work together in teams?
Yes, absolutely. So,
okay, great.
Like Aiden is my friend on the platform. So if I click on Aiden's programs, I get a list of all of the programs that he's written, and I can open one up and I can say, oh, this is neat. I'm going to save a copy, and I'll save it as Aiden's. And I'll save, and now I can make as many changes to this as I want, and then Aiden can see those changes that I've made, and we can work together.
Oh, that's awesome.
On whatever we want. Yeah. So, and anything else you would like to see, or?
No, I mean, I'm just super excited. I am super excited that the girls will have the opportunity to spend a month of, learning and getting their fingers into the Blackbird Code app. And, I think this is going to be fun. I'd love to participate myself.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to meeting folks. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. If they want to try out Blackbird Code, maybe before attending the workshop, we could absolutely do that as well.
Okay.
If you're curious before committing the time. But yeah, I'm really excited to work with folks from the Girls Place and to help young learners learn to write some lines of code.
Absolutely. And so anyone who is watching, and of course, we have some young people already signed up, so we're super excited about that. But if people have questions, they can email us at The Girls Place, and we will make sure that we get right back to you, and as well as make sure that we forward any questions that you have for Mike directly to him. And we'll also be sending out an email that kind of gives your bio, Mike, and and gives a little bit more information for Blackbird Code. But again, I am so looking forward to this, and we at The Girls Place, we're very thankful and excited for this collaboration to present coding, introducing it to a new generation of young people. So yeah, this has been a great day. Like I said, it kind of went by so fast. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, we were so lucky to have Linda and Audrey.
Absolutely, and we want to thank them again. Oh my goodness, the work they're doing is amazing. So I look forward to moving forward with this. March 4th is the first date of the Blackbird Code Girls Play Chicago workshop, March workshop. So, and again, just in case we didn't say it, it is a free workshop. So we just want to make sure that we, put that out there, and look forward to having you join us. So thanks again. And thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Emma.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.